Hello guys and welcome back to our German series. And today's video, it's gonna start the main and the core important stuffs about German grammar, and we're gonna go through all of them, which my guess is it's going to be around 50 videos long, as in episodes. Now, as lesson 1 of our German series, we're done with basics. Today we're gonna talk about the weak nouns and the weak verbs, strong verbs, and the irregular ones. And we're going to conjugate some of them. And if we had the chance, we will talk about some of the like conjugations of like compound tenses. And if we didn't have time, then we would just put it for the next lesson. So let's begin. Now, you might have heard of weak and strong verbs in German. Now we have learned how can we conjugate different nouns in different articles, which technically a more correct way to call them is called declination. For words we just say conjugation. We have learned how to conjugate some simple nouns. Let's say sagen. We changed the ending and we kept the root. This is about this idea with a little bit of twist. So let's just introduce you to a weak verb. Let's say kaufen, which means to buy. Here's another verb which is a strong verb, singen. These two decline perfectly normal as any other verb. So we just keep, let's say kaufen. For the present tense, we keep kauf, we do our thing, we keep sing here, we do our thing. But the reason that they call them weak and strong, it's because of how they form the past tense. Just take a look. So we said each verb has a root plus an ending and maybe some other endings. Generally speaking, not only German. Yeah, we just are like making a ground for her so that they might be more or less stuff in the behind of the verb or at the like behind of it or in the front of it. That's not the case. So the past tense of a weak verb, for let me change this color. I get negative vibes from it. For kaufen, the past tense would become kaufte, and then we conjugate it. Well, I'd like to call that this T here indicates the form of past, or maybe some of the books, or maybe the good ones, will take the TE part as a sign of a past. Now, here's the main point. The kaufen, which is a weak verb, caught TE and became in the past tense form. But a verb like singen won't do that. The past tense would form like sang, S-A-G-N-G. And what happened here is that the weak verb accepted the sign, but the strong verb changed its vowels. It went through change. And that's the main difference. I will give you some examples, then we'll, if we have time, we'll conjugate them together. Now, next verb for weeks is machen, which would be, we drop the en, drop them out, machte. That easy. Wandern would become wanderte. Now, if you for the strong ones, maybe one, fliegen would become flog. My suggestion is for you to master these verbs. I mean, I have to explain the irregular ones too, but it's mainly the weak and the strong ones. But let me just get to regular first. After we're done, I suggest you to download the tables of these verbs and just study them out loud, just to learn them by heart. And there's no magical way to learn any language or these stuff. You just have to fight with it, okay? You just have to do it every day. Now, let's move on to irregular verbs. IRR verbs. What does it mean, irregular verbs? Well, they have a very special kind of changes in them, or let's call it conjugation in them. And that being said, this puts them into 4 groups. So group 1 is the irregular weak verbs. Group 2 is the irregular strong verbs. Group 3 is the modal verbs plus this verb wissen. And the last group is sein, haben, and werden. These 4 are the most important parts, and in today's video we will talk about these 2 groups and sein, haben, werden group, SHW, and we will leave this part, plus wissen, for another video. Well, would be the modal auxiliary part. We'll talk about it full. Now, let's start with irregular weak verbs. So, irregular weak verbs. These verbs have the TE, or let's call it just T ending of the weak verbs from past endings, but they also have changes in vowel and, not W, and consonant. An example would be denken, which becomes dachte, and the past parts would become gedacht. Now, here's the thing to notice, and I'm trying to teach you how to study any language. I'm gonna put like playlist for learning maybe 20 something languages, and I will teach you linguistics and how to learn and study a language, or at least look at a language as a linguist does. So here we got K, and the K change to a H. K, H, G, and H, if we have it anywhere, are called the glottarals. And these are pronounced from this, and at least the sound, let's say, comes from the same place in the voice box, or in the person's mouth, let's say, not the voice box. And these ones can change into each other. This could change to this could change to this, or any other combinations possible, you see. And there are other stuff possible too, once you study enough languages to know how languages work. Like a ch could change to a sh, or this sh, but that's not what I want to talk about. The point is just to notice these patterns. Okay, let me just give you another example. Bringen, bringen would become brachte. And the passport would be gebracht. Do we notice anything? Let me see. Oh yeah, we got an A, I change. Yeah, this N disappeared, and the G turned into a CH. Notice, okay, maybe do it a little better. Notice letters M, N, L, R, and sometimes F and V, or anything sounding like F and V, can disappear or change to each other. because these two are nasals, these two are I have to add B2 in fact. These two are called liquid consonants, and these three are very close because B is close to P. Okay, P can change to B, and for the same reason B can change to V and V can change to F. These boys all can disappear, just what happened here, like when I explained to you why we got uns in German but us in English then just disappeared. Now that was the weak ones. Let's move on to strong. So irregular, strong ones. So what happens here is that a few strong verbs have consonant changes, yeah, as well as the vowel change, of course, in the past tense and the past participle. So there is no taking T. So what we can say about strong verbs is that they don't take shit. Take shit. And that's it. A few examples. Gehen, my favorite one to explain, of course, is ging. Okay. Let's just accept that this will become like this in the past tense, okay? How about the past participle? G, gang, okay, in. Wow, how did that happen? We just accepted that gehen would become ging. We said, okay, I won't nag about it. But how the hell did it become from ging to gegangen? Let's break it down. We understood that for weak verbs in the PP we get an T at the end, right? But the strong ones, they don't take T. They just have the normal EN one, the EN ending, right? So this is that EN, the past participle, which is, as my fellow Russians call it, понятно. It's understandable. We can see it. How about this GE? We will learn more about it when we reach the word formation, but it can make past participles, and basically it is used in making participles, basically, and it can also make neuter nouns, mostly neuter nouns. So we are left with a gang, not Tommy Shelby kind of gang, you know. We have an I here that has changed to an A. Now in linguistics, we have no idea how vowels change. We can notice the changes, but we don't know how it happened. So that's pretty much about these two. And let's talk about our top 3 verbs: sein, haben, and werden. Okay, so let's start. Okay, I don't really like this red here. I'm just change it to blue. So before we continue this with our irregular verbs, I highly suggest you to at least once, whenever you have learned a new verb, look at just choose your preferable like dictionary, whatever you like, and look at the declination of if it's a noun, the noun, or the conjugation of the verb. At least look it up once and try to learn it by heart fully. Okay, so what do we need for now to know about these verbs that I'm going to explain? So we need to know how to decline them in the past tense, PA past, the present tense, and the conjunctive 1 and 2, which this is not the subject of this video, so I'm going to just erase it. Let's just talk about these two. Okay, let me clear it once again. Sein, to be. This is declined. So this part is present tense, this part is the past tense. So present tense, we said it would be bin, bist, ist. This one is the plural forms are a little tricky, but that's okay. It's sind, seid, and sind. And you guys need to practice it. Please practice it, okay? And please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of these parts. So how about the past tense? We said that it changes the stem and it becomes va. So we're gonna decline it like this. Second will be was because the st is for the second person. Third person will become va. Notice no signs are here. Same thing happens to the strong verbs that change it. Like singen is sang, sangst, und sangs. The solo sein for the third person and the first person. Now moving on, we will continue conjugating it the same way. Waren, wart, waren. That's all you need to know for the verb sein. Now let's move on to our next verb, haben. It's conjugated. Ich habe. Du. Okay, I don't want to write du. Du hast. Er hat. Wir haben. Sie. That's right. Habt. Und sie, ihr habt and sie haben. How about the past tense? We have talked about it. The root changes. We add a T or a TE sign, then we conjugate. So this would be hatte. But since we have a root change, the third and the first person would be the same. So the second person would become hattest. Like du hattest gesehen, you've seen. And this is the compound tense that we haven't talked about yet. Don't worry, we'll get to it. Hatten. Hattet. This couldn't become hattet. It would be weird, okay? So it's better to be hatted. And the next one is hat. So this is the two main verbs out of three core grammar auxiliary verbs. And you should know all of these plus the conjunction of 1 and 2, which we will practice together. I won't leave any grammatical thing out for you. I will tell you exactly all you need, almost 99% of all German grammar. The rest is up to you. I will give you practice videos, but you have to practice yourself too, like buy books and practice tests and stuff. But if you're learning to fun, this is way more than fun, unless you enjoy grammar like I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't study fucking 26 languages. So, next verb, werden. Oh God. No. Werden. So here's the present, here's the past. Let's write it down real quick. So werden for the first person is werd. Jumping here, the rest we can pretty much write. Werden, werdet, and next one is werden. Again, right? But why did that leave that space? Because the second and third person don't follow these rules. West, this one is werd. Now these changes, this one and this one, happen in some common verbs. I will make another video about them, just to show the most common examples and why this happens. But I don't really recommend doing this. I recommend you go ahead and actually use these verbs and make mistakes and learn it, okay? Because I don't really suggest doing this. But if you actually want it, I will do it for you, no biggie. But I don't recommend it. Now move on to past. The werden becomes werden. We are a master at German right now, even though we have worked 3 videos with each other. But we are the master of this language now, and we understand, even we have had only a few episodes with each other, that this means a strong verb, okay? And this would mean that the first and the third would have the same declination, or let's say conjugation, and the rest is the same. Wurde with an ST. For these boys, it will be würden, werden, and würdet. It's that easy. Now let's talk about these verbs and the past participle of them, and the usage of werden. Then I think that will be the end of the video. So let's do it. So the past participle of haben, sein, and werden. So the past participle of haben is gehabt. Right. For sein is gewissen. This is not a way, it's a v, gewissen. How about werden? Pause the video if you want to think. Now, werden is a very useful verb. Let me show you. Werden itself means to become. Okay? But it is also an auxiliary. For what? For future tense, for conjunctions to, let's call it conjunction to, the form with werden is actually called the conditional tense, or the conditional mood actually of German, which we will meet there. Now, if this werden is being used as the verb meaning to become, it becomes geworden. See? But if it's one of these verbs, it has another past participle, which I don't want to state it here. Let's just say it's not this. Okay? And I think that's it for the video of today. Thanks you guys for watching. And if you have any opinion about anything, the video quality, the way I teach, if you have some ideas, if you have any suggestions or questions, write down in the comment section. I will be open to every single one of them. And thanks again for watching. Bye bye.